sport of basketball growing up in Columbus?
Man, for me, basketball was more of just a thing that was around. It wasn't anything that I sought after. It's crazy because my pops, he kind of knew the path I was going to take before I knew it. He, my first birthday, he gave me a ball and a hoop. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a video on YouTube, all that. And that was just his thing. He was like, I knew he was gonna play basketball, but when I was growing up, it was just something that, you kind of just did in the neighborhood. The homies was outside playing basketball, football. That's just what we did. I didn't even know the difference between varsity and junior varsity before high school. You know what I mean? So I kind of just loved the game without knowing I loved it. You know what I mean? It was just something I was always into. I was able to play football, I played basketball. And my mom, she always really kept me involved in some type of sports. I did wrestling for a little second, you know what I'm saying? Like, so she made, okay. Man, I did a little bit of everything, believe it or not. She just made sure I wasn't never sitting still. She wanted me to be a guy that was doing something. She had me in after school tutoring. I played the trumpet in the band. She kind of just had me doing something. So when I actually got to high school, I happened to go to, unknowingly one of the best high schools in the country for basketball.
Yeah.
And, that turned into everything it turned into, man. But nothing about it was intentional. I'll tell you that on my part.
Wow. And, once you got to high school, so I grew up in Detroit and competing in sports in the Detroit Public School League was like a big thing back, especially like in the 90s. Now for you, share like a little bit about like the competition, the level of, the level of intensity growing up playing high school ball in Columbus.
Yeah. I mean, for me, man, the city league is it's a lot of dogs. You know what I'm saying? Like one thing about the city, it don't matter who's playing. It don't matter, if it's 10 people in the crowd or 10,000, it's gonna be dogs on that court. And like I said, I happened to go to a school that we just dominated. I never lost a city league game in my career. 4 straight city championships. But that's more of a testament to, the competition level. We showed up every night to play. It wasn't like, this is so-and-so, we'll just take this night off. We took pride in coming out and saying like, no, they're not going to beat us tonight. There may be games we win by 1 or 50, but we're going to win some kind of way. Because Brookhaven, Beechcroft, they showed up every single night. Centennial on every, given nights. There's solid hoopers across the board. And, with us being the best, everybody's going to give you their best efforts. So if we came out lacking, you can get took out at any night, man. So I always get to see League so much love because, it just made me who I am. Them dog days in the summer, leading up to, championships and all that, it was all made in the city, man. And I forever show love to the city.
Beautiful, beautiful. And when you first got to your high school, obviously with your high school being a powerhouse, did they take like the hoop squad on a little tour, like with all the greats, like down the hallways, the trophy cases, or you kind of just figured out on your own, like, okay, this is that place?
Man, I went to school with Jared Salisbury and Trey Burke at the same time, so it wasn't even I was at school with Jared for 2 years and Trey for 3, so they didn't have to take me down the tour down the hall because they right next to me every day. I learned so much from Jared, watching him just handle the pressure of being the #1 player in the nation, going to your hometown team in Ohio State, being the guy that everybody looks to fail, and he just shouldered it and dominated it in a way that I never seen anybody do in person. And I talk to him on a regular basis. That's like my big brother. I give him a lot of credit for a lot of what I do now because he never took it easy on practice. He always put a lot of pressure on me to become better and do more. Even after he left, he would come back and talk. And, once I ascended to become a professional, he looked at me more as a peer rather than a little brother. He didn't look down on me anymore. He looked more as like, okay, I can speak to you on a mutual level. And I respect him for that. And Trey, he's still doing this thing in the NBA. He's one of those guys that he has such a mature game, such a smooth game. He can get you 30. He can get you 15 assists on any night. He can do anything he wanted to out there. And it was like, looking back on it, I definitely appreciated the moment, but I wish I would have realized I was in the moment. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get what you mean.
Yeah, being with 2 city legends at one time like that, I really, really wish I would have just soaked it in a little bit more instead of, at that age from 14 to 18, especially as a young man, you're just learning yourself. You're learning the world around you. We in the inner city, so, you're dealing with a lot of, this and that. So I just really was doing a lot of figuring out. But at that time, I just happened to be on one of the best teams in the country, beating other really, really good teams in the country, in Finley Prep, Oak Hill, teams from the West Coast. We was all over the place. So those dudes really, really showed me what it means to be someone of status, not only in the city, but in general, because, they both went on to be Naismith Players of the Year in college, deep NCAA runs, both made it to the NBA, you know what I'm saying? So those dudes are shining lights for our city, not only for Columbus, but the state of Ohio, to show that, someone can make it from the inner city and do it the right way.
The right way. Interestingly enough, growing up in Detroit, being a Michigan fan, like I seen Trey Burke doing his thing at Michigan, and with Sullinger, for a big, he was fundamentally sound. Trey Burke, for undersized guard, he was fundamentally sound. So yeah, they definitely been playing the game the right way. And so, kind of take us through the recruiting process. From Northland to Dayton.
So for me, I actually wasn't even committed to Dayton originally. I was committed to the University of Cincinnati. That's where I was going at first.
Okay.
So before I even got to that point, and I give, his name is Victor Dandrews, Coach Vic, as the city knows him. I give Coach Vic so much credit because I wouldn't be the player, the young man, none of that without him. My father was in my life my whole life, but Coach Vic was like my basketball father. You know what I mean? Like when we went on, he literally saw me at a like an 8th grade tournament and was like, hey man, you should try to go to Northland, blah blah. But at the time I was living with my mom on the south side. I was on my way to Walnut Ridge, another city school, and I ended up moving my dad on the north side. Ended up going to Northland, and sure enough, Coach Vic happened to be there, and I didn't even know it was him because at the tournament he was dressed down. Coach Vic wears suits every day. He's like Columbus Dapper Dan. You know what I mean? He always got a hat. He always got his suit on. You know what I mean? So I'm like, yeah, there's another guy that was trying to get me to come here. He's like, no, that was me. You know what I mean? So he's done so much, not only for me, but so many people in the city. He's always pushing coaches to talk to this kid. This is a guy you should look at. This is a guy, because I was underrated. No one knew me. I was honorable mention coming into high school. When I left out, I was top 5 center in the state, top 10 power forward in the state, top 50 in the country. But a lot of that is due to him. He pushed me to play for certain teams, all Ohio and all these different programs. He told coaches to give me a look. So progressing through high school, my freshman, sophomore year, I really didn't get too many looks. I think my first offer was a D3 school, Defiance. And even with that, I was so surprised. I'm like, oh, my parents now don't have to pay for college. This is a big deal. And I had it was an open gym my sophomore year. I had my first D1 offer is James Madison. I remember like it was yesterday. They offered me after open gym. Like, yeah, another city legend, Devon Moore, went to James Madison, and I guess
in Virginia.
Yeah, in Virginia.
Okay.
So, like I said, another city legend, another big bro of mine, Devon Moore. He went there and played well and became the man over there. So they still had ties to our school. They showed up and, gave me the offer, and, my mind was just blown, like, bro, this is crazy. I never, ever thought about playing college basketball for free. So progressing through high school, I kind of developed a style and a feel of, the type of player I am. I'm more of a gritty guy, I don't want to say I'm a tough guy, but I'm just a guy, I stand my ground, you know what I mean? So Cincinnati fit that mold for me. They were in the Big East at the time. Bob Huggins was the coach. This is around Lance Stevenson time. Another Ohio legend. Hey, what is his name? I literally just about to say it and lost it, bro. I'll think of it, bro. But another Ohio legend.
They had a few tough guys. I remember the rivalry they used to have with Xavier. They had a few tough guys.
Yeah. The kind I'm talking about is who punched out Kenny Freeze.
Oh, was it the guard?
No, it was a big. Hey, bro, it's on to my tongue, but he's another legend out in Ohio. But I just wanted to play there. Me and my dad, we went on the official visit. We took the tour around campus. The coach who recruited me was Coach Jackson. me and my dad was on the way home, and we was just like, man, I think this might be the school. My pops never put pressure on me to go to any school though. He was more like, this is gonna be your 4 years, so you pick where you want to go. And for me, that was a big deal because I honestly didn't feel any pressure in the recruitment process. My dad was just always like, this is your decision. I'll help you, but always be sure that this is where you want to be. So I chose Cincinnati, and that was where I wanted to be at the time, and I really felt like that was home. My now wife actually ended up going there also. She was so mad when I told her she was my girlfriend at the time, but she went there. I told her I was going there, and then I ended up decommitted. She was so mad at me. I was like, what do you want me to do? It's basketball. But I decommitted because they wanted me to redshirt because they kind of switched the recruiting, what they were looking for. They wanted a 7-footer and a 6'8" wing. So they wanted me to redshirt my freshman year. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to sit out. So I ended up decommitting, opened my recruitment back up, and it was like the floodgates open, And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying it's more or less like, kids from our city can experience the same thing. If you follow the blueprint, the kids these days, I feel are a little bit more enticed by the highlights. They want to be on Instagram and this and that. And I feel like an old man. Back in my day, we had to wait till the next day to get the mixtapes online, and you don't even know if you own that mug. You just gotta watch the highlights from the game and just pray you made it. And if a cameraman didn't show up that night, well, you ain't gonna be on there. You know what I mean? So, sometimes in the summertime with AAU, guys kind of play for the highlights, and back then I feel like guys were just grinding for that scholarship, for that one look. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what happened. I played every summer. Like I said, thanks to Coach Vic, I was putting us on very good teams. I was able to really show my worth, and that turned into a lot of different schools showing me a lot of love. So once I reopened my recruitment, everybody from the Midwest, UCLA was pulling up. They tried to get a package deal with me and another player on our team. It was just a lot going on. And then my Final Four came down to Alabama, Tennessee, Ohio, and Dayton.
Alabama, wow, you really extended your reach with that one.
I really love Alabama football. That was my thing. I really liked Alabama football. And when I found out they were really, really interested in me in basketball, that was one of the biggest draws, was that I would be able to go to the football games for free all the time, And it was a Nike school. It was just, it was SEC. It was a good look.
Yeah. But was this before or after Avery Johnson got there as the coach?
This is before. At the time, and it's funny. It's funny how God works. Everything comes full circle. The coach at the time was Anthony Grant. He was a University of Dayton alumni. Recruited me there. I didn't end up going. We played him at the University of Alabama, but when I was at UD, we played against him in Alabama. We won. Now he's the head coach at the University of Dayton. He's been there for like 3 years now. You know what I mean? So it's crazy how God works that type of stuff out. I just saw him this past summer. I went down to UD for the TBT. That's where we worked out at. I got to talk to him again after all these years, and we kind of were just catching up. And I told him, I was like, "Hey man, I know you were a little mad at me, we beat you when we came through." He was like, "Yeah, man, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. I'm here now, so it's water under the bridge." I was like, "Cool." But yeah, overall, man, it's the process kind of went kind of fast after my sophomore year. The summertime I was really playing a lot of basketball. I was everywhere. At the time, there was a recruitment rule where you can only have 2 from the same high school on the same AAU team until like June. So when I was playing for All Ohio, there was already 2 dudes from my team on that team. So I really had to, kind of feel my way in other places, other quality teams until July when I could play, freely. And like I said, this is why I give Coach Vic so much credit. He was such a big help in pushing me towards teams or telling me, this or that or whatever. So, after that, I was everywhere every week. I never took a weekend off in the summer. I was barely home in the summertime. I didn't get my driver's license until I was in college because of that. If I wasn't somewhere playing, I was at home for 4 days on some working out or just chilling with the homies, whatever. But that was the last thing my mom was getting a driver's license. So, like I said, the process picked up, and then I ended up picking the University of Dayton with one of my high school teammates, and the rest is history on that side.
Wow, that's the big fella, right? Your teammate. He also played in the
Yeah,
played down low.
yeah, Jalen Robinson, man, that was my guy. He actually just had another his third kid, another son, man. So shout out to him.
So blessings have been coming constantly over the years.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Now, I had a interview with so in Detroit, there's a school that kind of parallels Northland out of Columbus. It's a school in Detroit called Renaissance. They had like one season where in the Detroit Public School League, they had like an undefeated season. Two of the guys, Joe Crawford and Malik Hairston, they were McDonald's All-Americans. Then the one played in
Yeah,
Kentucky. Um, they both end up making an NBA, one with the Lakers, one with the Spurs. Now, there was a third guy, Devin, on that high school team. His name was Marcus Stout. So
okay.
during the interview, I'm like, coming from the inner city, whether it's Detroit, Chicago, Columbus, Cleveland, whatever, you're kind of judged on if you made it or not based on if you got paid to play at any pro level. If you don't get to any pro level, it's kind of like you failed. And I was asking him, like, what were kind of the thoughts that was going on in his mind when he didn't go pro.
Right.
And he ended up becoming the coach of the Detroit Pistons G League team now. So our
Right.
conversation kind of shifted. Now, for you, what kind of thoughts, was going through your mind when you got your first pro contract?
Man, the journey to that contract was so crazy. Uh, I always give God so much credit. My dad is a pastor, whether you know it or not, and I was always raised in the church. I was in the inner city for sure, but my pops always did everything he could to make sure I had those godly roots, because he knew at this point in my life I would need it. Being a father myself, being a husband, as a younger kid, my son is 8 years old. He's hitting that point where he's starting to ascend. His body's changing and his mind is changing. So my dad was always instilling that at that time for me at the age 27. Not necessarily at age 14 or whatever. You know what I mean? Because you need it now more than ever. But I say that to say the things that we go through in life, God uses if you allow him. You know what I'm saying? So when I left, I actually got in trouble at the University of Dayton. I got in trouble. I stole some money from some kids, and it was something petty. It was some college stuff. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like I knocked anybody out or armed robbery, whatever. It was some college stuff. Me and my teammate, we took some money from some kids. The next day, we get the money back, but campus security kind of intercepted the money, so it never made it to the kids. So, long story short, I ended up going to jail for 3 months. You know what I mean? So I go from this is fresh off the Elite Eight. I go from being a team captain, Elite Eight run just passed, to in a jail cell by August. And I was there for 3 months. And my first night there, I prayed, and I was like, man, what am I doing here? Like, Lord, like, why am I here? Yeah, like, what am I doing here? And, I feel like God spoke to me and was like, you're here because you put everything above me. My relationship with God in college is basically null and void. Life was moving so fast. I had, school, basketball, social life. My son he came when I was 19, 20, you know what I mean, around that age. So, I had a lot going on in life. And, at that time, God spoke to me like, you put everything before me and you never developed your relationship with me as an adult. The Bible tells us, the man should not live off of milk and honey alone, but live, once you become of age, you're supposed to eat meat. You're supposed to get things that are of substance. And I never chose to pursue that. I had so much going on. I didn't take time. So those 3 months I used for that. I really, really put a lot of effort into reading the Bible, studying, learning, doing a lot to just understand the word and the God that I choose to follow. And I say that I follow, you know what I mean? And I never knock anybody for their beliefs, you know what I'm saying? Whatever you do is whatever you do. But for me, that's what worked. So I get out, I went to an NAIA school in Arkansas and ended up not even playing. I had a red shirt because the NAIA wouldn't let me play. So
It's the transfer rules.
yeah, but it was a little different because NAIA rules are different. You know what I mean? They're a little different, but I still in any case I still couldn't play. So then, the coach at the end of the season ended up getting fired. So I leave Arkansas. I come back to Ohio. I go to the University of Tiffin in Northern Ohio. It's like 45 minutes from Bowling Green.
They wear the green colors?
Yeah, green and yellow.
Okay.
So I go from there. I'm there. There was two guys. There was Jared Sullivan's brother as an assistant coach, and a guy I've known since I was a young man, Logan. Jordan Cyber, one of my college teammates' brothers, was assistant. They were both assistants at this school.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, oh man, it's good. These are my guys. They know me forever, blah blah. And I ended up not playing again. The NCAA wouldn't let me play. So for me, I'm like, bro, I entered a real state of depression. The coach, he was like, well, you're not playing. We're gonna move you off the NCAA roster, so you don't bring the team GPA down, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, you know what I'm saying? It's so much going on. It was a rocky patch with my wife at that time because it was just so much going on. Like I said, my head was everywhere. I was depressed. Like, and when I say depressed, I don't mean like I was feeling bad. I was genuinely depressed. Like I was waking up, I wasn't going to class because it was just like there's no motivation for life at that point. And and this is why I always give God so much credit because He moves in our lives in ways that we don't understand. That same coach that I was committed to at the University of Cincinnati, Coach Jackson, he ended up getting a job coaching in Canada as a professional coach. And he reached out to Coach Vic, that I said, caught me at a young age, reached out to Coach Vic, was like, hey, I heard about the situation with Devon. If he wants to go pro, we're having a tryout for our league. He can pull up at the tryout, and he knows the NCAA rules, obviously. I'm a grown man. I'm so far going out of college now, I can say this. He was like, if he comes to the workout, he makes the team, and he decides to go pro, then we're good. If not, then, it'll never get out because, at that time, I'm still an amateur. I can't work out for a professional team. Okay. So I go to the workout, and Coach Vic calls me. He's like, hey, man, I just talked to Coach Jackson. This is the situation, blah, blah, blah. And it was almost like a fire was ignited all over again. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? There's an opportunity? And I had been at Tiffin since the summertime. This is probably like, I want to say like November-ish, maybe October, a little bit before that, whatever. But I had been there for about 4 months or so. I was summer workouts, preseason, and then I found out I can't play. So I spent like a month in school. I was just, like I said, just aimlessly moving. He tells me the situation. I'm like, all right, bet. I completely stopped going to class. You know what I mean? I just started working out because I couldn't practice with the team. I couldn't do weights with the team. I had to do everything on my own. Yeah. So for me, I was like, you know what? I'm going to dive head first into this. And if it doesn't work, it's just not meant to be at this moment. It is what it is. I had 2 weeks before the workout. So I was like, I can skip class for 2 weeks. I don't care about none of that. I showed up at some every now and again, but for the most part, I was just working out every day, shooting, running, lifting. I showed up to the workout in Cincinnati. I go in there and dominate the first day. And I'm not saying this to boast. I'm saying like, I was so focused on this situation because I'm like, bro, I got a son, I got a wife. This opportunity is something that's been handed to me. You know what I'm saying? These people came full circle in my life for a reason. Yeah. So I dominate the first day. At the end of the first day, the GM of the league, or the commissioner of the league, I'm sorry, his name is Butch Carter. He's actually
the former Butch Carter for the Raptors. He used to coach the Raptors. Butch Carter's older brother,
Yeah. So he tells me after the first day, he was like, look, you're going to play. You're going to be on the team. We're going to make sure you get a contract after this workout. Come to the second day. Because the first day of the workout was more skills, kind of just scaling where people were. And I just, like I said, I just dominated all the drills, the one-on-one drills, all the stuff. I dominated. He was like, just come to the workout tomorrow. It's more playing, more 5-on-5. We want to see you in live action, but you're for sure going to get a contract after this. So I called my wife on the way back home. I'm going to Columbus. I didn't even go back to Tiffin at the time. I went from Cincinnati back to Columbus. I called my wife on the way home, like, this is what dude said, but I'm going to still show up tomorrow and go crazy. Show up the next day, do what I'm supposed to do. Again, he pulls me to the side. He's like, be sure to be by your phone, make sure we got your information. So I speak to my wife and we're excited, blah, blah. And then like, a few weeks goes by and I haven't really heard anything. I'm like, bro, what's going on? But at the time, I didn't like check to see when they plan on starting playing games or anything. You know what I'm saying? The league didn't start until December. This was in like November, late October, November. So I was more or less like, bro, what's going on? Y'all telling me this and that.
Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, like, so I reached out to him and all these other people. He's telling me like, hey, and this is the God honest truth. I know a lot of people have these type of stories, but this is the God. I put this on everything. I call him and he's like, we're trying to get the flights together for people. We're trying to make sure, transportation from your home to here is cool. I'm like, look, bro, you don't have to give me transportation. I'll drive. It was only 6 hours from my city to where I ended up getting drafted to play. You know what I mean? They had like a pool draft of players and stuff. So I was like, I'll drive myself. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to worry about it. I drove up through Michigan, through Detroit, that, the border from Canada to, yeah. So it was 3 hours from Columbus to the border and then 3 hours from the border to my city. So I'm like, bro, like, you don't have to do none of that. I promise you, I will make sure I get there on my own, blah, blah. He's like, okay. He's kind of brushing it off. The next day, I'm hitting his phone again, like, Butch, like, don't worry about it. I promise I'll figure it out. He was like, okay, well, we're trying to get the hotel together. I was like, look, I will sleep on somebody's floor. I just need to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to be in the mix. I promise you, you don't have to worry about anything. Just give me what I can, to get across the border, you need like a permit and stuff like that. In Canada, they're real strict with that. And, you got to have a reason to stand. So I'm like, just send me what I need. Don't worry about anything else. So, he takes about an hour and then he sends me what I need to get across the border. And then I get another text message from another guy that's in the head office saying, congratulations, you're a professional basketball player. Check your email for the contract. I still have that text message in my I got that text message in my screenshots to this day. I'll probably never delete that. Like, that was the message. And I only signed for like $2,000. It's not like I was making some crazy amount of money. I was only making $2,000 a month. But the fact that I was able to now pay for our bills, and because my wife has been holding it down this whole time, during this whole thing.
Okay.
My wife has been the backbone of our family at this period where she was like, kind of just get everything under control. I uprooted our whole family from Dayton to Arkansas in a drop of a dime off a bad decision. You know what I mean? So I felt so bad about that. I was just so thirsty to put her in a position where she didn't have to worry about that type of stuff. You know what I mean? So, like I said, he sends me that text, he sends me the contract, I sign, send it back, and like 2-3 days, we pack up the car and we on the way. I drove straight to Canada, and I ain't looked back since.
Beautiful, man. That's a beautiful story. I hope one day on your social media page, like you post a little screenshot, of that first notification, that you're in, you're in all the way. Now from Canada to Italy. So I hear a lot of great things about Italy. They say it's a beautiful place. In the military, I didn't get a chance to get to Italy, but just like looking at the background, the whole scenery and all that. What was your first experience in Italy? How was that like for you?
Man, it's funny because understanding a relationship with God, understanding how things really work, I just look at things differently. My process to come into Italy was a a handful. I pack up and I'll fast forward a lot of the details, but the day that I'm supposed to leave, we get to the airport like 5 minutes before boarding closes. They tell me like, I told my wife, I'm like, yo, you and my daughter, hop out, start the process, give them the passports, all that kind of stuff. They start the process. I get all the stuff out the car. I bring it inside, and the lady, when me and my son get up to the desk, she's like, oh, no. I can't, we can't do all of y'all. We thought it was just the mother and the daughter. The rest of y'all, you can't get on. We're like, what? We have tickets, we have seats on the plane. What are you talking about? She's like, well, you're supposed to be here this amount of time before we close, and now we're 5 minutes. So we stood there for that whole 5 minutes going back and forth, and then she was like, well, now we're really closed. The 5 minutes has passed. I'm like, ma'am, we have a place on the plane. It's not like, she was just like, well, it's about the bags and this and that. So we do that. I call my agent. I'm like, look, man, this is the situation. I'm not exactly sure, what's going on with that, but we got to figure something out. So he gets on the phone with the team. As he's doing that, my wife proactively starts looking at other airlines that's right there. I live in Atlanta now, by the way. So Atlanta's one of the busiest airports in the country. So she's like, man, yeah. So she's like, man, let me try to find another place, another flight, another airline. You know what I mean? So she finds one. It's like $8,000. You know what I mean, for all four of us. And this is like drop of a dime. And me and my wife are talking, and we're like, do we want to do this? I get on the phone with my agent.
You just said $80,000?
No, eight.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
No, eight. So I get on the phone with my agent. My agent tells me that the team said there's another flight on Friday. This was like a Tuesday. I'm like, bro, I just packed up my entire life. I'm not driving another 45 minutes from the airport back to the house to come back up here to in 3 days. I'm not doing that. So me and her just kind of made the decision to say, you know what, let's just do it. Let's just, believe that this is going to work out in the long run. We do that, we pay, we get on the plane. It's just a high stress situation where kids are done, they're spilling stuff and all that other stuff. We get to Frankfurt. We didn't have a direct. We stopped in Frankfurt. We missed our connector flight in Frankfurt because our original flight that we were supposed to be on the first time was our connector. We missed that connector by like 10 minutes because we were on a whole different flight, had to run from this side of the airport to the other side of the airport. Get on the phone again with the team, like, hey, we're stuck in Frankfurt, blah, blah. They find us a flight. We get to Italy. We land in Milan. The airline lost our luggage. I had no luggage. My family, nobody had luggage for like a week. Like, you can't write this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just telling my wife, like, man, we're here. Let's just keep a level head. Just keep moving forward. They'll find our bags. And this ain't like one or two. This is like 6, 7 bags of luggage. This is everything besides our carry-on. So we had to go like a whole week basically with I had to buy new basketball shoes when I got here because I had to start working out, practicing all that. I had to buy new basketball shoes, socks, everything, bro, everything. So, and I, when I compared it to with my wife, we were talking about it, and I was like, essentially, we were giving birth to a new situation. When you give birth, you have labor pains. You have the what's it called, Braxton Hicks contractions. The fake ones. You have when you get to the hospital. All this other stuff. Like giving birth is nothing easy about this process. Then the actual labor process of getting the child out and all that other stuff.
Oh, another stuff.
We gave birth to the situation. It's nothing easy about it. It's nothing light about it. But this is a situation that's gonna continue to push us forward. So we have to just be appreciative of it and keep moving. And eventually our luggage got there. We got settled and everything worked out. But nothing was easy about this process either. But I believe God makes people resilient for a reason, for moments like that. Kind of testing where your head is at. Are you gonna fold or are you gonna stay solid and keep inching forward? Some progression is better than no progression. You know what I mean? So that was just one of the things. But since then, it's been A1. Everything here is, the food is I love to eat. So the food is great. The people are cool. I love my teammates. My team is cool. The city is, one of the best cities I've ever played in. I love the fans. I can't complain, man.
Beautiful, man. Like I'm glad you're able to tie all this in, with your spirituality, because at the end of the day, I think that's very overlooked, especially when it comes to people's sports journeys. They talk a lot more about the physical side, the physical struggle, but they rarely cover the spiritual side, the spiritual struggle as well. So that's definitely much appreciated. And at the tail end of each episode, we asked, and we're like 84 episodes in, we asked our guests if they were coming up with a movie about their life story, Devon, what will be the title of their life story movie? Which actor or actress would play them and why? So it's definitely appropriate to do that for you. If you were coming up with a life story movie, what will be the title, Devon? What actors playing you, and kind of break down the why part too?
And title, I don't know, man. And the crazy thing is like, I'm a person like I love to write. Uh, I'm very good with words, but I started writing a book, and one of the things I struggle with is the title because you don't want to be corny. You don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to be one of those guys. But for me, I would call my movie The Journey. That's the name I have on when I record vlogs on YouTube. So I basically document whatever's going on wherever I'm at that time.
Nice.
I'm not an everyday YouTuber, but I started out my page with the intention of showing people like you can make mistakes in life and still progress towards what you want in life. Like I said, I started out at $2,000. My first job. Now I signed deals for 6 figures. And like I said, I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to say, as a city kid from Columbus, Ohio, who went to jail for 3 months for felonies. I didn't go to jail for, petty, trespassing. I was indicted on 7 felonies. I was able to progress past that with all glory to God, because without that center, I wouldn't be able to be here. So going from that to where I am now, it's been a major journey. You know what I mean? So when I started the YouTube page, that's where I really was focused on, was showing people that you can make that progression throughout time and really just stay consistent and pursue it. So that would be the title for me, The Journey, The Journey. As far as the actor, man, what I couldn't even tell you, man. There's so many different people out here that's talented at their craft as far as acting, man. Like, and I'm only 27. I turned 28 in like a week or so or something like that. But who I would want to play me, I would say Will. Will Smith is probably one of my favorite actors of all time. He's so versatile. Dude can do anything under the sun, from comedy to drama to sitcoms. Dude can do anything. So I believe he would be able to knock it out the park. If I had to choose anyone, it would be him.
Beautiful, man. I'm, it brings a smile to me, man. Like, also having grown up in the inner city Midwest, having a family, little ones, 3 little kids, and trying to be the best husband to my wife, man. Like, your story, really brings a smile to my face. You definitely will be one of my more memorable podcast episodes, man. I hope you got time, like somewhere down the line, if I'm doing like a fatherhood virtual event, man. I really appreciate you, man.
Man, anytime you hit me, I'm gonna be available, man. I really want to commend you for doing this, because a lot of people don't shine light on inner city situations unless they've ascended to certain status. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I go back to, I have an AAU team in Atlanta. I've had one for 3 years now. And when I go home, I talk to them and I'm like, there's 2 things you need to understand about this game. One, there's more Tony Snells in the NBA than there is LeBron James.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
facts.
And there's nothing wrong with it, choosing to be this type of player. My favorite player growing up was Carmelo. I used to love Carmelo. You know what I'm saying? What's up? My daughter didn't pull it up out of nowhere.
How you doing? That's what it's all about. It's a youth mentorship podcast.
Yeah. I tell them all the time, like, I model so much of my game, and I grew up in an era where I could watch KG, I could watch Melo, I could watch these people be who they are. They put a certain grit out on the court. They did certain things that you'd be like, I want to emulate that. There's nothing wrong with you saying I want to be like Steph, I want to be like this, but understand there's a certain amount of work that comes with that. Come on this side, Carl. My son's trying to sneak in the camera too.
Beautiful.
So, there's a certain amount of work that comes into being that type of player. You can't just say, I want to be Steph Curry, but you don't put up 1,000 shots a day. His father was a shooter in the NBA. You know what I'm saying? So he got training on that side. He got workouts. He got everything that pushed him to be one of the best shooter ever.
Early.
So you have to not only work that hard, you got to double up, because you don't have that. You don't have your dad being that person. You don't have this or that. You know what I'm saying? So I tell them that. And then I tell them, if you shoot for the stars, if you fall short, you land on the clouds. So if your goal is say, hey, I want to make it to the league, if you happen to come up a little short in the league, but you make it to overseas, signing for X amount of dollars for 10, 12, 13 years, there's millionaires from overseas. You made it, bro. You did what you're supposed to do. this overseas life ain't for everybody. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing easy about it. But at the same time, if you can do it, if you can hold it down, if you can say like, this is what I want to do it. Don't cop out and say, oh, I'm overseas, so I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like some people get caught up in the mindset of NBA or bust. And there's nothing wrong with that mindset. You should have a driving force and a clear goal in mind and say, this is where I want to end up. But if you happen to end up shorter, you happen to take a detour. Look at PJ Tucker. He's an NBA champion. He's also an overseas legend. He won championships in Israel. He's been all over. Pat Bev.
Because he had to leave school early. I think he had to leave Texas early. He got into a situation, I believe, in Texas.
Exactly. There's people who take that route, and it's not a slight. It's not that, oh, you're not good enough. It's okay, you have to take a small detour to get to your ultimate goal. This man, like I said, he's a champion now. You know what I'm saying? With Giannis. No one saw that coming. You can't take that from him. No one can take that banner out the rafters that PJ got. He hung banners overseas and he hung banners in the league. You know what I'm saying? So I say all that to say to the kids, especially, don't get caught up thinking that you can't be successful because you didn't make it to the league. Don't get caught in the trap of, well, I want to go to the G League because it's an affiliate. I'm one step away. There's barely any money in the G League.
Yep, money isn't right.
And two, the politics in the G League is crazy. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to go that route, I don't disturb you.
You don't knock it.
You know, yeah, but at the same time, being a pro, I've been a pro 6 years now. I've seen every player you can think of, bro. Every type of player. I've played against, NBA guys. I've played against Euro guys. I've played against low-level guys. I've played against everybody. So, and I've been on the teams with these guys. So I've been able to have intimate conversations with them about these things. Last year, and another Michigan guy, Caleb Lucas. He was on my team. Yeah, that's my guy. He was on my team last year in Israel with 3 other NBA guys. You know what I'm saying? I was on a team with a lotto pick, with Caleb Lucas, and a dude who was fresh off of the NBA. He just played for the Cavs. And at the end of the day, that's the mark of the caliber of player you are. Who's around you? Who you surrounded by? If I'm surrounded by NBA guys, that tells me, okay, I'm good enough to be on the court with these guys. You know what I mean? If you're not good enough, you're not going to be there. It's that simple. I left that situation and went to South Korea with another guy fresh off of the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Motley, he had just left the Clippers, this was his first experience overseas in South Korea. So at the end of the day, I tell guys all the time, I'm like, look here, bro. You really, really, really don't want to sell yourself short and lose out on a lifelong. Look at Stephon Marbury, NBA legend.
Reinvented himself. Yeah.
He was Michael Jordan in China. Stephon Marbury.
Stephon Marbury.
They got museums, statues, pictures, everything.
Musicals. Broadway.
Don't get it. I'm telling you, bro. Don't get it messed up thinking that it's NBA or bust. When realistically, there's so much basketball, there's so much money, there's so many opportunities across this water. Because what us as Americans don't understand, when you go to these places and play in these top leagues, this is their NBA. You know what I mean? Like the Euro League is the NBA of Europe. You know what I'm saying? You get those are the highest caliber guys. Everybody, like there's so many different leagues, but at the end of the day, when you pull up in Italy and you play in Italy top league, everybody's coming to see your team play because this is their NBA. This is the closest they can come to in-person basketball, and they love it. European fans are different, bro. Like they all game they're cheering. If you're on the road, they hate you. They're spitting at you. They treating you like that's what you should do. And when you do this concept, I want my percentage. I gave you the idea. When you get guys who play Euro basketball, have them come on and talk about some of their experiences. Overseas. Have them talk about what are the away fans like? What are the home fans like? What is it like being a killer? When you're good, that's when they really be on your bunker on the road. You know what I'm saying? What is it like being a star player on the road in a hostile environment? Bro, when I say they're throwing batteries, they're throwing coins, they're spitting at you.
Batteries.
It's not like the NBA where I can walk to the side and be like, hey man, get him up out of here. No, it's the whole section of fans that's on that. You know what I'm saying? So a quick story. I was playing in South America my second year at home, bro. This is at home. We were playing a rival. The rival fans were sitting behind their bench. I'm going crazy. You know, I'm having a really good first half. You know, I get an N1 on a jump shot. And and me, you know, I'm like I said, I'm from Dogs. Dogs raised me at Northland. The city raised me. We talk crazy. I get the N1, I'm talking to him, man, yeah. Can't none of these clowns out here guarding me. These niggas suck. As soon as I do that, here come the pennies. I catch one right to the back of the neck. So it hit me, it hit the ground, I pick it up. I go over to their fans and I say, oh, hey, one of y'all drop this. And I drop it in the crowd. I didn't throw it because it was kids and stuff. You know, it'd be my luck. I mess around and hit a kid in the eye. So I walk over there and drop it. I'm talking about these people were red in the face and livid that I did that. The ref is coming over to me like, please, 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 please. I'm like, nah, man, but the fans are just different. I played in Brazil. We beat a team on the road. I played with Leandro Barbosa in Brazil. You know, that's my guy.
He must be quite the king down there.
Barbosa, yeah, he's that dude. He's that dude. He getting commercials on TV. He got his wife is a supermodel. You know what I'm saying? He's just one of those guys. But he earned it though, man. Shoot, that dude's a sixth man of the year, a champion. You know what I'm saying? He did everything you can do. But we're on the road. Barbosa goes for like 30 in like the second half. You know what I'm saying? We were down. He goes for like 30 in the second half. Game's on the line. He actually he gets doubled. He passed me the rock. I make the shot for game. They throw it for last second. He missed. The fans, there was like 5 fans after the game. They weren't mad at us. They were mad at their coach. I'm asking my teammate, like, what is he saying? Because he's speaking Portuguese. And he's out there yelling like, hey, coach, come out here and talk. I don't have no gun. I don't have no knife. I just want to talk. Like, I'm like, these fans outside of America are crazy. They live, die, and breathe this game, bro. Like, I love it over here. Like these fans in Torino, and these are probably my favorite fans to play in front of them. You know, after games, we walk around, win or loss, we walk like to the floor seat people, to the seats that are close, to the stands, and you know, just shake hands, you know, give 5, take pictures, whatever. These people hug you as if you just, you know, gave birth to their kid. You know, they hug you like the people in the
unconditional love.
Like yeah, man, they love you like and the struggle is, and this is something I learned at Northland from Jared's dad. He was our coach for 3 years. Never read your own press clippings. You know what I'm saying? It's easy when things are going right for those fans. You know, they're showing you so much love and this and that. We were on like a 5-6 game losing streak for a while. In the same way they love you, the fans can kind of, you know, I'm not gonna say they're turning back on you, but they feel like, bro, like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be winning. You're supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? So you almost want to play to uphold that standard that they have for you. You know what I mean? You want to raise your level because, you know, okay, not only do I have these fans watching me, I have their kids who they raise their kids to be lifelong fans. You know what I mean? Like the kids are watching you, the grandma's watching, everybody's watching. So you're like, man, you know what? Let me raise my level and play to their standard, not only to my standard, but to their standard. So when I leave out of here, these people leave with a smile on their face, man. I love the fans everywhere I go. One thing I always make sure I do is before I leave the gym, like whether it be right after the game or whatever, I always make sure anybody who wanted a picture or autograph or whatever, I make sure you leave with that because there's no telling with life just in general these days. You know what I mean? There's no telling. This could be a moment that changes someone's day, you know, whatever news they had. They may have come to the game with the intention of being uplifted. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure everyone leaves with that feeling of like, yes, I got what I came here for. You know, there's people who stay after. There was a guy, bro. I played today at 12 o'clock. It's 4:48. There was a guy who played a game. My family went to a carnival next door. I was just chilling in the locker room. I was in there for probably about an hour. I promise you, this is the God's honest truth. I'm leaving to go to my car. A guy is standing out there. He's like, Scott. I'm like, what's up, man? He was like, man, I'm a season ticket holder. I'm a fan of yours. Can I please have a selfie? I was waiting on you.
All this time for selfie.
Man, all that time for one picture, bro. You know what I'm saying? So
beautiful.
That type of stuff means something to me. It tells me that like what I'm doing means something bigger than basketball.
Yeah.
You know, there's games where I don't even play that great, and the fans still show that type of love. So to me, I pray before every game. I make sure I give God thanks before and after the game because this isn't given to everyone. You know, I happen to be one of the ones that is blessed to do this. And you know, at the end of the day, if I didn't have a relationship with God, it would be easy to get prideful and say like, yeah, I'm the man. Like, no, the path I took to get here shows me that it can be snatched from you in a heartbeat off one choice. One bad decision, I ended up in a jail cell, contemplating my life. My son had to come see me through the glass. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's nothing to play with. And every single day, every opportunity I take, I give God thanks for that, because this game it changed my life, bro. And he gave it to me for this. I thank my wife. I always say everyone who played a part in that developmental stage, because, bro, it could all be snatched from me, man. And, you know, because I know that also when it's time to walk away from the game, I'm gonna still be beating up on people at LA Fitness, but when God says it's time, it's time. You know what I mean?
Devon, man, you gave us like the total complete interview, man. I'm gonna be doing so much editing, chopping and scoring for just this is just like beyond anything I could describe, man. I really appreciate your humility, first of all, and just you bringing light to a lot of things that get overlooked, man. From one dad to another, man. Continue blessings to your household, and you continue to touch lives, man. And I'm looking forward to uploading this Heavy Brand podcast on Facebook. You know, share this with some of the AAU kids. I'm gonna definitely reach out to you whenever we're doing any fatherhood events, man. Much appreciated, brother.
Like I said, man, keep doing it, man, for real. Like, believe it or not, man, people need this. They need to hear it. Like I said, I saw the Esteban joint, man. People need to highlight people like Esteban. You need to keep doing what you're doing, because everyone who, like, there's kids who are under me, the generation after me, all the generations, they need to know who Esteban Weaver is. They need to understand that he was one of the best that the country had to offer, and a couple of decisions made him, you know, change his direction. You brought that to life for people, and I really appreciate and commend you for what you're doing, man. Keep doing it. I'm gonna be available whenever you call, bro. Seriously.
Much appreciated, man. All right, Devon Scott, keep grinding, my friend.
Yes, sir. I'll talk to you later.
Sir.